Hey folks, welcome to the third part of my Let's Play for AGEOD's Civil War game. Some exciting things have happened this turn. First off, I'll zoom in here on Alexandria, Virginia, and I can click here and see that all these tabs appeared, all these stacks miraculously appeared out of nowhere. These are the Northeastern Virginia Army, the units that in real life moved down here towards Richmond and lost the Battle of Bull Run, the first Battle of Bull Run. So this happens throughout the first year that units will pop up out of nowhere, and that happens a lot less often in 1862 and onwards. Uh, but this is the biggest mass of units that are going to just magically pop on the screen for us to play with in the whole game. So take a look at them real quickly. If you look at all these units, they all have a little lock icon on them. I can't move them yet. So even though they popped up, and that's pretty exciting, there's nothing I can do with them this turn. But it is useful if I click on one, I show you this brigade here is made up of 3 regiments. And if you look at the regiment icons, they're all red. And there's only a small sliver of blue on the left-hand side. That red means that these guys are undermanned. They're depleted. They need to pull replacement troops to become useful, to bring back up to fighting strength. So that's sort of what the red means, and it's really why it's locked. Even if they were unlocked, I wouldn't move them. I'd let them sit there. They need to rest, and while they rest, they would pull some replacement troops out of this pool and bring themselves back up to strength. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on this replacement pool every turn, and as you can see, I already clicked on some of these to keep this full over the next couple turns, let these guys bring themselves back up to strength. So that's the one big exciting thing I think happened this turn, is these guys appeared. Unfortunately, I can't do anything with them yet. A few other things that I can do, though. This Washington Brigade appeared in Washington, D.C., and I'm going to send them off here to Harper's Ferry to join Carl Schurz to try to defend the Harper's Ferry area. This army will be plenty of troops, hopefully, for me to defend Washington, D.C. for a while, so I want to send some extra troops over here to Harper's Ferry to try to cover that flank. So I'm sending this Washington Brigade over there. If you look at the Washington Brigade, it's got this little yellow circle on it. If you hover over it, it says strong morale. It makes this sort of a special unit that has the strong morale trait. He fights a little stronger than other units of the same type, but that don't have that trait too. So yeah, you'll see a bunch of units popping up around that have special traits like that. Another thing going on, there was a problem in Baltimore, and the railroad lines there were cut. That's always an event that happens early in the game to simulate the riots that occurred there early in the war. So I'm going to send this Marine Corps unit up there to Baltimore to fix that rail cut next time. Final unit we need to talk about is General Banks here. He's a 3-star general, and he has pretty bad traits. He's a 201 general, so he's not extraordinarily useful in leading troops. But if you see these circles on his icon, he does have one interesting and useful trait. If I hover over it here, you'll see it's a recruiting officer trait, meaning he can, if I take him and I'm going to move him up here to New York City, I'll railroad him up and tell him to enter the city, and he'll just sit there the rest of the game. I'm going to have him sit there in New York City, and he'll gain us some conscript resources every turn throughout the game just because he's been sitting there. So that's what I'm doing with him, and we can ignore him now for the rest of the game. So that's it for moving units. It's all we can really do right now. There's one other exciting thing going on this turn, though. We can raise more troops, and I'm definitely going to be doing that. I'm going to raise some more troops up here in Boston so I can put them on boats and send them down here to Fort Monroe where we can help defend that area. And I'm going to raise some troops over here for St. Louis, where there's a useful general who will pop up soon, and hopefully we can use him and those troops to attack down here to Springfield. So quickly, let me talk a little bit about the economic model of the game. When raising troops, you need three different sort of resources. You need money, you need war supplies, which corresponds to like guns and cannons and steel and clothes and shoes and all that stuff. And then you need what's called conscripts, which are basically correspond to men that are willing to join up into the army. So we need those too. And it's conscripts, by the way, that if I scroll back over here, Nathaniel Banks is going to give us by sitting in New York City every turn. He's going to give us a few extra conscript points to play with. So I guess time's probably running short, but let me go ahead and raise some troops. So I'm going to raise 120, 112, and two 10-pound cannon for the Western Front. I'll raise a sharpshooter unit in Missouri, and I'll raise two infantry brigades. And then in Boston, I'm going to raise one 20-pounder, two 10-pounders, a sharpshooter, one of these large brigades that have three infantry, a small cannon, and a cavalry unit. And I'll go ahead and raise four militia. Let's see. This says it's happening in Maine, but they're all going to show up in Boston. All the New England states are represented by Boston there. So I'll do that. You see that this line went into the red. I don't actually have enough conscript companies to raise the troops that I wanted to raise, but I can fix that. There's various things you can sign that can help you raise money and raise conscripts. So I'm going to call for volunteers. I'll sign that. That should raise us 142 conscription points. Go back here to reinforcements. You'll see now we're back in the black. We have enough resources to cover all the troops I was just trying to raise. So I think that's all I'm going to do this turn. Raising the new troops, which we'll see later pop up on the screen, and move a couple of these units around. So I'm going to click end turn. And we'll see if any battles occur, but I have a feeling that none will, because, for instance, this large Confederate army here is sitting in place just like mine is, and since they won't be moving many units around, and I won't be moving many units around, I don't expect any battles quite yet, but I imagine there will be within a couple more turns easily. So it looks like my defenses at Harper's Ferry have arrived. So, and I don't know what it's still processing, but that's about it. That's about it for that turn, and that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope I got it in under 10 minutes, and see you in the next installment.